appreciate everything that we did for all the swearing in this afternoon, and I'm gonna turn the meeting over to our attorney to go over the, White's proposal and the second phase of the grant.
Mr. Chairman, you should have two things in front of you. One is a map, and one is a piece of paper titled White's proposal at the top, and the next one, Phillips' proposal. This down the map, and you see Camp Road. That's County Camp Road at the bottom there. That's in that West Farm low area. Just to give you a little history, gosh, probably 10 years ago, we did a joint project with the city and the Water Management District, doing drainage and all of that down in that area. Bought a flowage easement and burned Mr. Hodden's property, did some other things down there. Now, as part of what we are continuing to try to do is to help drainage and help the flooding issues down there. If you look at the map, the county has purchased a lot of the property there. If you look at what's outlined in red, down in the bottom left-hand side, we've purchased several of those parcels. And what we had done recently was on the parcel that says, it says 1,050 feet right there. That's not applying to this parcel, but the parcel that's under that designation, and the parcel to the right of it, the county had applied to Swanee River Water Management District for a permit to dig that out for a borrow pit. We applied for a permit. The Water Management District had agreed to issue the permit. Mr. Ken White filed a petition for an administrative hearing, and that is proceeding right now. They've got a trial date set in December. Now, while all that's going on, staff is attempting to negotiate and try to see if we can come to a resolution. What we've got here today is what we feel like is a good resolution. Its terms set out here, and what we're asking the board to do is to tell us, yes, you're okay settling on these terms, and then we'll have to draft a settlement agreement, and that settlement agreement will have to come back to the board for execution. Of course, nothing you do today binds you to anything. The only way you're bound to anything is if you approve a settlement agreement and then sign that agreement. Same thing would apply to Mr. White or anyone else. They're not bound until they actually sign an agreement. So the terms here are as follows, and there's with Mr. White, and so I'm just kind of walking down this proposal. This is White's proposal. Mr. White owns, and it's got a parcel number here. It's about consisting of 70 acres. Now that is this large parcel. I'm going to do it other than turn around. It's this parcel here. So this big parcel on the right-hand side. And so that's a 70-acre parcel. Now, what we are proposing is that the county would purchase a flowage easement on 51 acres of that 70 acres. So if you look at, there's a parcel that's got 44 acres in it. That's that roughly shaped like the number 9 parcel. And then there's a smaller square parcel that has 7 acres. So what we're proposing is that the county would purchase a flowage easement over that entire 51 acres, which means the county can run water on that as it sees fit. Now that's just an easement, it's not purchasing the property, so of course Mr. White would be able to keep growing timber, or he could run cows, or whatever he wanted out there that didn't interfere with the flow of water. Now on the 44 acres, the way that's thought is that the county would not be able to do anything on the 44 acres except allow water to run on it. We couldn't ditch it or berm it or put structures or any of that. On the 7 acres, the thought is that the county would be able to dig that out, put culvert structures, whatever it needed to do for water purposes. Now the proposal is that the county would purchase that for $2,000 per acre, or $102,000, because it's 51 acres times 2,000, $102,000. Now the purchase price for that would come from a Swanee River, and be contingent on being awarded a river grant from Swanee River Water Management District. Now those, and Brian, you have to help me, I think we apply for those in March, and then we look at funding in August. Yeah. So we would know whether or not they're going to give it to us in August If they gave it to us, which we're very hopeful they would, then you'd have a closing, you know, within a month or so thereafter. But at any rate, that's that part of it. Now, as part of that, Mr. White would, and whoever, I believe it's Mr. White and his wife own the surrounding property, they would execute a release concerning any flooding or water-related issues, and they would dismiss the pending DOA action, and they'd have to do that immediately. So that's kind of the terms of that, of the White proposal. Now, as we were looking at this, the thought occurred to us that probably the best thing to do when we're making these proposals to Swanee River would be to also include what we need out of the Phillips property, which is next door. So if you look at, so you can see the 51 acres we're talking about. This that's outlined in red to the left is the Phillips property. And that's over on the next page, which is called Phillips proposal. Now, on this property, roughly the 4 acres at the bottom there would be treated the same as the 7 acres on the White's property. That would be something the county could dig out, or you know, do whatever we wanted to with it for water purposes, put structures on it, etc. The 22 acres to the north would be treated like the 44 acres on the White's property, so that the county could run water on there, but you know, the county wouldn't own it. The county would not dig it out, do any of that kind of stuff. And of course, the Phillips could still use that property however they saw fit. So, but it's just it may be flooded from time to time. So now, as one other part with the Phillips property is, if you look at the top, there's a 1 acre rectangle up there, and that was the agreement that has been proposed is that the county would have use of that for a year to dig fill material for its projects. And I believe the Phillips have agreed to that. The price, though, is that the county would move 10 truckloads of fill to the drive of Mr. Phillips' daughter, which is the green line kind of at the top of that map. And that's, you know, reasonably common. We do that from time to time in order to get access to fill material, because when you're trying to do a project like that with fill, the big cost is the diesel trucking it. So if you can get something close, it's normally quite valuable. And so, of course, that still would be contingent on you know, receiving funding from the Water Management District through the River Grants program, and that again would be $2,000 an acre. Let's see, and that would be a total of $54,000 because the property there is 27 acres. And so that's an outline of the terms. Staff recommends it, thinks it's a good deal. If you all, you don't make your final decision tonight whether or not you want to do it, but now if you don't want to do it, don't send me the draft documents. But if you're good enough to have the draft documents and all that, present that back, then that's what you would just instruct me to do at this point.
You need just a consensus.
Just consensus, if that's what y'all want me to do. I'll instruct.
Chair, if I may.
Yes.
I was gonna ask if Mr. White or Mr. Phillips are pretty much in line with everything that's been discussed and laid out.
So, subject to seeing the written agreement, obviously.
Right. Yes, sir.
You got to actually see the agreement.
Yeah.
Did either one of y'all like to make any remarks? What's the feeling of the board?
Mr. Chairman, my motion that we approve this.
I'll say.
Have a motion and a second to approve this proposal. Of course, it was all contingent on everything being worked out, but do we have any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as presented by our attorney? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
And, so, Mr. Chairman, what we'll probably end up doing is having another special meeting next week.
Right.
Where we'll have the written documents prepared. Of course, y'all will get it ahead of time, because until they've approved it, I don't want to bring it back to y'all. I mean, let's make sure we get all that done. But anyway, okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I just wanted to say I appreciate the ability to be able to work with Mr. White and Mr. Phillips on this and keep this moving forward. It's been a long time coming. I appreciate y'all.
All right, thank you.
I would second that, by saying that, I know it has been a long time in works, and we've had a lot of discussion, and I wanna thank each and every one of you two that, for the effort you put forth for this. I think this is gonna be a good move for all of us.
Well, I'd just like to add one thing. I'm glad that we've gotten to this point on our pieces of property. I'm doubly glad that what has been done with the houses along County Camp and with those people who didn't have a lot of alternatives that they could do, that y'all have been able to do something for them. And I think that's very important.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
I would like to thank y'all too, and thank Brian for putting all the work in into it.
This needs to be tweaked.
What do you think as far as next week on special meeting dates would be?
They should not purposely
Yeah, we're gonna be out of town
to be
next
fair.
week.
We're gonna try to maybe do it Monday the following
Where
week.
they know that it will do that intentionally. and that's
Either do it this coming Monday, which maybe.
That's not gonna give us enough time.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully I can get it drafted over the weekend, get it out there by.
Well, I suggest, just throw a suggestion out, that we move to the, let's see, that'll be the 3rd of December, is that right?
2 weeks from today is December 3rd, yes, yes, sir.
Put that afternoon.
We can schedule that for the evening or morning, which, I'll look to the gentleman there on the front row. Do you have a preference of morning or afternoon for yourself?
What day of the week is it?
Monday,
December 3rd.
December 3rd.
So 2 weeks from today.
Morning is good for me.
Yeah, Austin, I'm retired now, whenever you want to do it.
I like mornings, but
I like
I'm
mornings
flexible.
also.
And the only thing is, I think I have a, school board meeting at 6 on the 3rd. So if we could do it a little before 6, you know,
Okay,
4 or 5.
5 o'clock.
We can schedule 5 o'clock, that's okay.
5 o'clock or 9 a.m.
Mhm.
I'll go ahead and schedule it for 6, for 5 PM, Monday the 3rd. That's, okay.
He said for 5 p.m.
That's what they said.
Okay,
Move into the next one, Mr. Chairman.
yes.
The next one, Mr. Chairman, was we're bringing back an agreement for the management operation of the Madison County Agricultural Center. We should have a red line version of this agreement there. This is bringing back the same agreement, but the agreement's been changed, and that's what the red lines show. You all never enacted an agreement, so it's not a change of an enacted agreement, it's a change of the last proposal that was given to you. And I know y'all seen the red lines, but I'd like to kind of point out what I think are the high points. The biggest change on page 4, one of the concerns last time was that the chamber wasn't paying rent. Well, on page 4, paragraph 4, we changed that. And so, and this is kind of how we set it up. For the last, and help me, Brian, I think it's the last 8 years, at least, the county has been providing the chamber with a monetary contribution of $3,500. So the way we set this up was that if the county kept providing that $3,500, then the chamber would pay rent of $400. The thought being that keeps everything about the same. We're still paying what we would normally pay every year. They're still paying rent that they would normally pay every year, or about what they would normally pay every year. And so that's number 4, and that's a change. The other concern I think that was expressed last time was the thought that, well, the chamber would be making all this money off of the county facility. And so what we're suggesting is in paragraph 5, we've got a change that says that the chamber would, of all the fees and everything that come in, the chamber would retain the first $5,000 of revenue. And the thought is there that would compensate them for their work in marketing the facility and all that. And then above that $5,000, everything is split 50-50 between the chamber and the county. So if that ended up being very popular and there's lots of money being brought in, the county would share in those proceeds. And then in 5.3, it just states that no later than 60 days following the end of the fiscal year, the chamber is going to provide a written accounting to the board and is going to make payment of whatever is due after that. So those are 2 of the bigger changes. I do want to point out on page 5, number 10, or actually, let me go back to 8. One of the other issues that have been brought up was the feeling that it might not be fair for the electricity, the way we were having it set up. And so what we've done is the electricity is now separated. The chamber's electricity is on their meter. They pay the electric bill. We'll pay the electric bill for that. The portion being used by the conservation technician is on its own meter. They will pay that. Now, as we were looking at this, though, the question came up about water, wastewater service, and there was not a real good way to divide that. And so the way we set it up here is that the county would simply provide that service. It's not anticipated that's gonna be a particularly pricey item. You're talking about offices, not a kitchen or something that would use a lot of water. But that's the way it's set up. The other thing on paragraph 10, we've got in here for the livestock show, that it reserves it the week of the President's Day, in which the President's Day holiday falls, that the livestock show, that the chamber will only charge a $150 flat fee to cover utility costs, and then the people putting on the livestock show have to get their own liability insurance, and make the county and the chamber additional insurance on that. Then I think one more change. We made it clear on page 3, paragraph 3.5. We made it clear that the chamber is responsible for repairs, janitorial service, all of that. We added the term janitorial service, but provided that that was limited to $1,000 a year for that maintenance. So if it's above $1,000, then they're not bound to that. If it's under 1,000, that's and then lastly, on page or paragraph 38, that is a statutory paragraph that we just have to add dealing with public records. It doesn't change much. It's just saying that they understand everything they've got as a public record now, because they're, or not everything they have. Everything they have dealing with the Ag Center would be a public record, because that's a public record. So, that's the changes that we're proposing to the commission. And so, what y'all can do is you can, number 1, you can say, no, we want something else. Number 2, you can approve it, or number 3, you can just say no altogether. That's up to the board. If you wish to approve it, though, I think you can tonight, and then that would be it, we'd get it signed, all that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move that we approve it.
I say,
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve this agreement with the chamber. Any other discussion?
Just a question.
Yes.
On the revenue generated, is it possible that, because, my concern up front, or desire up front, is any revenues made through that building would go back to the building for upgrades, for, maintenance and expansions and such as that, instead of just going right back to what we may get to the general fund? Is there any way, I guess, the question of Billy, can it be earmarked that any revenues we receive from that it is earmarked to be used
we
for
should
the Ag
start
Center?
a line item for that.
I mean, that's the only thing I'd like to see, because, as you know, that building's gonna require maintenance, it's gonna require upgrades. And if we can utilize any revenue we make from that building, because, we would share part of it with the chamber, is to just be earmarked to be used for that purpose. That's the only
Very glad.
condition that I would recommend that we make.
I had also asked that question, I think, during the discussion with the attorney. Does that need to be put into there, or does it?
I would put it in this agreement. I'd do that, let Billy do that as part of the
Billy's
budget
okay,
process.
Okay.
All right.
And that's all I have.
I think that's very good. All right, any other discussion?
I was wondering, Mr.
Yeah.
Phillips, Ms. Jerry, everything okay with the chamber?
Yes, we're good with that. The chamber board members have looked it over, and they're okay with it too.
Good.
Thank you.
Ms. Harris, did you have any?
No, they've been addressed, thank you.
Okay. Then hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, carried 4-0. All
That's all we
right,
have.
all right, Mr. Davis, you have any?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
Welcome back, Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Wednesday, lifetime up there. Anything, comments?
And nothing, just wanna wish Wayne good luck again, thanks again for everything you did for this board and for the county and that's what it is. Yeah.
We'll give the last comment to our party member. You want to get up and give a speech?
I'm not much of a speech giver. It's been a privilege and an honor.
Well, I think we all feel the same way. Mr. Washington?
I don't really have anything to add. I do want to thank Commissioner Vickers. He's been my commissioner for the past 12 years. And I told you privately and I'll tell you publicly, I appreciate what you've done.
Mr. Bell?
That's it.
Comments?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Coughlin?
No, sir.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.